Hello everyone and welcome to Game Soup. I hope you're hungry for game soup for breakfast because that is what you are having. Game soup is a mixture of, if I had to describe it, WarioWare and Vidiot game. Alright, so you see this monkey? Keep this monkey in mind for later. He's going to be important. Anyway, the game is a series of micro games with an overarching goal. We don't know what that goal is yet, and we won't until we reach the end of the game. Each game either parodies an old video game or is its own unique thing. The unique parts of the game that don't parody a video game are what remind me of video game. But the game is largely video game parodies from some popular games and some not so popular games, but you're bound to notice a few. Now, the micro games have varying levels of nuance. Some of them are genuine micro games, while some are just, smash a button a certain number of times. For example, that one we just did with the wedding ring. The wedding ring is controlled by moving the D-pad up and down, and it has very strange physics on it, which adds to the challenge. This one, on the other hand, is very simple. You just press the action button to pick up and throw the pots. Very hard to fail that one. So the micro games vary from, oh hey, that's kind of fun and unique, to, just pick the picture that matches the others. But just because you've seen a micro game before doesn't mean you've seen every variation of it. For example, this Pokemon one, sometimes the Pokemon will try to fake you out, so it's harder to time the ball. It's impossible to experience all of the minigames in a single run. I tried my best to see all of the minigames before I recorded this video, but I still may have missed some. This one's one of the longer ones. We just have to survive until time runs out. And it's very easy. I'm just mashing the space button in the direction the enemies are coming from. Pretty sure the real Kung Fu is much, much more difficult than that. But, so if one were to ask how they could fail these micro games, you either fail it by mistiming your objective, not doing your objective at all, or time running out. The timer is not always the biggest problem. Sometimes you can just fuck it up. For example, if we didn't jump properly there and fell down a pit, we would have lost, regardless of whether we still had time left. It seems the ones where you make text choices have a more lenient timer than most. Maybe, during the testing phase they found out people were having issues reading text quickly, and so they were more lenient with those. Although there is an end goal and a story involved, the micro games, do not go in any specific order. They are randomized each time you start a game. We failed that Undertale parody because that's a variation of that micro game I hadn't seen before, and we lost one of our 4 hearts. So the thing about this one is that you need to make sure your axe actually touches the bad guys. Very important. This is a character from one of GameSoup's other video games, Infernal Racket. That character appears in a few of the micro games. GameSoup is the developer, in addition to being the name of the game. This is Snake. You played Snake before? The bad thing about this game is that I have this unholy compulsion to try and individually analyze each micro game, which is a terrible idea. But we can talk about how we can solve these micro games faster than I can talk about them. And that's because we understand how video games work on a basic level. There is a goal, we quickly read the screen, and then we understand the goal through our understanding of video game tropes and previous video games we've played. Now, if you haven't played games before, I imagine this would be quite insane. The controls are simplistic and the goals are simplistic. You only move the arrow keys and press the spacebar to play the game. But without an understanding of how video games work, this would probably seem pretty insane. But your brain is actually processing the design of these games much faster than I could ever talk about them, which is especially impressive because it would also happen faster than I can talk if you were actually playing. And the fact that these games require player input and you could still discover the design faster than I can talk about it means that there's something special going on here psychologically. And that's really the overarching design of this video game and other video games like it. At least to a certain extent, this one more than others. The idea that it relies on the player's knowledge of video game tropes and their ability to quickly assess and analyze familiar situations, so that way they can complete the micro games in time. Because analyzing So this was Game Soup, a game set in a haunted ramen restaurant, and, well, I can't say much I haven't already said. It's certainly an experience, and I think my favorite thing about these games is it shows how quickly people can react to rapid changes if the changes are presented in a certain digestible format. Like, you think it shouldn't be reasonable for someone to react to all of these microgames this quickly, and I think it's remarkable that there's an entire subgenre of microgame collections like this, dedicated to the idea that no, your brain can go that quickly. As for Game Soup in particular, the only difference between something like this and SpongeBob SquigglePants is that this plays more on the traditional video game setups that you're familiar with. So, yeah, it's a perfectly serviceable micro game collection, and it has some of my favorite boss music.